Each color calls on another. It's like call and response. I don't use green much. It's a difficult color for me. You start with green, well, its complementary color is red. You just get a feeling. You put in black, and then there's yellow, and then you feel, well, there has to be maybe a little blue there. It calls you.
I've always wanted to understand what makes artists tick. How do they create something new out of nothing? I approached abstract expressionist painter George Long, hoping to discover the method behind his magic.
I was always doodling, and I had a cartoon character that I invented, and I was constantly drawing on my books and getting beaten for it, and drawing on my textbooks, scribbling everywhere. I decided to come down to San Francisco, and so I came down here in '77. I got all my photography equipment stolen. I got my flute stolen. I got everything stolen out of the car. They left me with a broken guitar. So I started playing guitar, and my sister said at the time, you should try painting again. And I was doing these landscapes again, and they were so boring. And I looked at this one, and I just thought, man, this is boring. And I took a barbecue spatula and smothered it in paint and started throwing it at the canvas. And it just started taking off. I just loved it. I hadn't heard of Jackson Pollock at the time. So I actually have pre-Pollock inspired paintings before I even knew who he was. And I just kept painting and painting and painting and playing music at the same time. So what I started doing in my early paintings was to paint jazz music as I felt it. Abstract expressionism, some people call it automatic painting. And the best way I can describe it is I can work really well while I'm talking on the telephone. Because I don't know if you notice, when people talk on the telephone, they automatically start doodling. Because you separate the conscious mind is on the phone, and your subconscious actually starts taking off. So, I mean, I don't talk on the telephone and paint, but that's a best way to describe where your head goes. You're kind of looking at what you're doing, but you're not really looking at what you're doing. It's coming out, and you're watching it come out, and you're trying to control it, but at the same time, it's kind of you're letting your subconscious speak. This looks like a haphazard mess of colors, but it starts off like that, and it's kind of this automatic stuff, but I've got a plan. After you throw all the paint, then I go over it, and I have this too much green, and it's a very careful process of taking out little bits and pieces to make it look like it's kind of automatic chaos. There's a lot of staring, just sitting and looking, thinking. This is like waiting, and I'm looking at it and looking at it, looking at it, and I can see that it needs a little green. It's going to need to lighten up areas, a little more white, and it's just this thing where you feel it balance. And there's no guideline, but you got to think of all the thousands of places or hundreds of places where you're going to put the next blob of paint and why you're going to do it. And if it's going to be square, if it's going to be circle. You got to go through every kind of possibility. Do you do a little squiggle there, and why should you do it? The brain is scanning it just for a feeling. Generally, like something like this, and when it clicks, it's just something that clicks. My mother would see me in colors that didn't match, and she'd go, oh! I mean, she was so sensitive. It was like hearing two notes that you out of tune. It's like, ah! There was an abstract painting like this for years. I started in '83. In fact, I have a painting like this. It was the one that I told you I suddenly started throwing paint at. And that one just didn't make it. There was just something about it. And I had it on the wall. I stared at it for so long. And I put in 5 yellow dots. And bang. And I was good friends with a very famous poet, Gregory Corso, one of the beatniks. And he came in, yeah, man, that's it, you got the ball game. And just those 5 little dots. I think art is something you never retire from. And I hope to paint till the day I drop dead. Well, I have to, because I don't have any retirement coming.